Hello, friends. It is I, Camera Mandy. As you probably know, if you've ever joined in the stream before, I'm here with Todd today. But before we bring him on, I just want to talk a little bit about Alphinius. Um, so he is in California right now with Miss Goo. They're dealing with a very sad situation having to do with his mother-in-law. She fell and hurt her head. And this morning, um, I got a call from Alphinius, and just Miss Goo is having a really difficult morning, and he asked if me and Todd could take on the stream, just the two of us. And this is Train Talks number 8. We've had Todd on now. This is his 8th visit, and I know Todd and I love Todd, and I feel like him and Lawrence are like the only people who could just pull this off in the last minute. And I said, yeah, we got this. You take care of Miss Goo and you take care of her mother. And so today Todd is going to be hosting the show, and it's going to be an awesome time. But before I bring him on, I just want to say if we could just keep the two of them in our thoughts and prayers as they navigate this difficult time. Um, it's obviously we had an instance of losing Miss Goo's father, I think around a year ago, and it's just a hard situation. And so, um, but let's just keep them in our thoughts and prayers. If you want to send Alphinius a note, I know that he'd appreciate that. He loves you all and loves the support that you give him. And yeah, anyway, but let's not stop that from letting us have just a great show, because Todd has put together, as he always does, a magnificent slideshow presentation talking about towns in D&D. So let's bring on Todd and get this thing started. Hi, Todd.
Hello, Camera Mandy. How we doing?
I'm having a great morning. I pulled some great social media, lots of great social media.
Awesome.
We have I'm going to show people your organized talking list at the end, so that way they can see what you what you do for us before you come on each episode, because it is
The
so
neuroses
appreciated.
behind the psychoses. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's wonderful. That's what I want everyone to see. That's great.
No, it's honestly, it just gives me peace of mind. So, how are you doing this morning? How are you feeling? You had your own stint in the hospital here just recently. So are you feeling better?
I did. I just couldn't get enough of being in the hospital. There was 2 months straight where I just started getting my mail there. It was so much fun. So, but we've recovered everything. We're back in business. So we're fortunately everything's picked up, and I'm almost completely done with doctor visits, and everything is back to normal. So I'm back being the usual insanity that I do. So that is great news. And I just wanted to also say that my heart goes out to Alphinius and Mrs. Goo, and we should all just take a moment, obviously, and put some good vibes out for Grandma Goo. That everything, full and speedy recovery is on her way for them, and the emotional support for everyone that's carrying her, because it's hard on those people too. When I was going to the hospital, my wife was just, she's my hero. She was there for me in every step of the way, taking care of me, doing whatever needed to be done, and picking up the slack. And it means the world to have people like that in our lives. We're very fortunate when we do have those people. So,
yes.
Any support that we can give to care for the caregivers, they call it, is always well appreciated.
Absolutely. Todd, you had an amazing milestone that happened in the last 2 weeks here. Your Facebook group hit 50,000 members.
50,000.
So does that just blow your mind that there's 50,000 people out there in the world who love terrain and love all the aspects of creativity and everything about terrain? Is that just psh?
I just couldn't believe 50,000 people would want to be in a club that I was in. That's the thing. I say, yeah, no, it was amazing. When I first started, I think it's 5 years ago, or 6 years ago now. It took me 6 months to get it to 100 members. 6 full months, and for the longest time, I'm like, I guess nobody's interested. I guess, but it finally started to pick up and gather steam, and then it really started steamrolling. Believe it or not, during COVID, when everybody was trapped at home, and then they could get some ideas for what they're going to do next, because I just kept on building. And that's really got the thing steamrolling. And recently we hit 50,000. And one of the other things too is it's 50,000 members, and there's only a total of 3 admins that run the thing. We don't have 12 admins or anything, because just like the Gooey Cube den group, it's filled with such well-behaved, well-meaning, creative people that you don't really need to monitor it the way you do a lot
Right.
of Facebook groups, because the people that are of good faith, good character, they have a great sense of humor and stuff, and they're focused on the thing at hand. And just like I said, just like the Gooey Cube people that you do that we're going to feature in the social media, they're there to
Hmm.
be creative. They're there to contribute something positive. And so I'm really gladdened. My heart's gladdened to see that many people are interested in the terrain and how they can use it to help tell stories in whatever gaming system they play.
Right. And I mean, I do think that that is a common theme just across all of gaming. Like, I mean, every convention we go to, when we're together, when we're apart, when we're online, when we're on Discord, wherever we are, I just feel like there's overall, I know that there's subsets of communities that are very toxic, but for the most part, I feel very blessed to be part of such a good-natured, wonderful community that comes together and just loves each other. So, yeah,
Gamers need to be social. It's a lot. I mean, I'm not saying there are people that don't play TTRPG solo. There are, of course, that's totally valid. But generally speaking, it's a social type experience, and so they want to outreach. They want to be, with like-minded people. So we have that going for us, I think, for what we
yeah.
do.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and launch into social media here.
Okay.
We're going to start with what next week is going to be for Goo Morning Zyathé, which is going to be another Critflix Club. We are going to be watching The Goonies. It was overwhelmingly voted as the choice. 50% of people voted for The Goonies out of, I think, like 70 votes. So
No.
next week, let's all watch The Goonies this week. And then next week, we'll be doing a conversation breaking down The Goonies as if it was a D&D campaign and grabbing plot hooks from it or grabbing NPCs and what we can do to what we can take from The Goonies to that would be valuable for like a D&D type campaign or a TTRPG type campaign.
That's
So,
awesome. And your
oh yeah,
your runners up and stuff too are ones I would love to see too. Dark Crystal, way back in the day, was
yes.
absolutely fantastic. It was like mind blowing as a kid. So was Labyrinth, and Time Bandits was just a fantastic. With all the midget guys with the going through that was a fantastic movie too. So there's every one of those.
I've never
Have,
seen Time Bandits before. I'm looking
oh,
forward
it's well
to some of
worth it.
these. Like,
Yeah,
eventually, I have like a list of like 50 or 60 movies, and I'll just be plugging them in. I'll just be changing up the poll whenever
sure.
we do it, so we can see which ones really hit. But
Mm.
yes, a lot of them are like there was like Beastmaster, Lady Hawk, a lot of like
Ooh,
the
lovely.
old kind of classic fantasy movies. I was not, or I was being born, I guess, probably like
Right.
80s, 70s. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of these. So Goonies next week. Everyone
Okay.
have a watch. It'll be a good time. Okay. Oh, so this is fun. Um, we have a ton of gaming going on this weekend. Labor Day weekend, there's a lot of conventions. I think Dragon Con's going on. That's a big one. And then we have a bunch of smaller conventions. Pacificon is one that we attended the last couple of years with our friend Armando the Bard. We weren't able to make it out this year to actually vend there, but Pamela, who's one of our amazing community members, is running games out there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This is Grand Con in the Midwest. Jay Rule and Richard Kangas are both running games out there, and it looks like they have full tables and happy players, and that makes me happy. So,
Yeah, clearly
um,
there's some interest there. So
huh?
clearly there's some interest
Just
there.
there. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And so we met Jay and Richard at GaryCon, and they asked, hey, we'd love to run at Grand Con. I sent them out some gooey green shirts and some modules and some pre-gens, and look at them go. So, and also Tacticon is happening here in Denver this weekend. So, bunch of fun games. Here's a picture of Lawrence. Lawrence is hanging out at Tacticon up in Denver, just going for fun this week. And so, if you're at Tacticon, definitely make sure to say hi to him. And that is our former. I don't know if you know this, Todd, but at Genghis Con, if you ever get a
Mhm.
chance to come out here for it, they have a con like every year who's like a KHAN
Mhm.
con. This
Right.
was our con of last year. So really, Lauren should be like con and should shout it really, really loudly in her face.
Con!
Con,
You
yeah,
gotta play the James T. Kirk thing where you're
yes,
mad. And you gotta have the little epaulet down, like your spaceship has just been blasted. And if you
yeah.
watch that section, by the way, of the movie, if you rewatch the Wrath of Khan, when James T. Kirk is walking around, he actually unbuttons the thing himself. Well, it was buttoned, and he has to make it look like he suffered damage that he hasn't suffered.
Yeah,
And they
that's
fix
so
it.
funny.
Yep. It's not like he gets thrown off to the side, he comes back up and it's ripped off. You actually see him walk around and he goes and he like casually peels it off like you're not supposed to notice that he's.
Okay, I definitely would like to rewatch that. Also, I feel like we should add some of the Star Trek movies to our Crit Flit list.
Oh yeah.
Those would be great for those.
Yep.
And I would love to see that. So
Yep.
cheesy, so wonderful. I love
Yep.
it. Okay. Next up. Alphinius actually called me to be like, Mandy, why haven't you commented on this post yet? The Temple of Excremental Evil.
Wow.
A grotesque, flatulent adventure for characters levels 8 to 10. I guess this is the parody version of, or I don't know, maybe he'd actually do it for real. It's supposed to be kind of parody in
No,
itself.
I mean, if you think about it, that is some evil shit right there.
Some evil shit. That's funny.
That is fantastic. That has my vote immediately.
Okay. Okay, Todd, you want people creating rooms for the Temple of Excremental Evil for next year's Creative Adventures table?
I absolutely think that would be amazing.
I would love to see the terrain people would make with poop. Like,
yes.
on the one hand, like, maybe not though. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There has to be a rule like no organic materials.
Yeah, no real poop. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Okay, so this was from one of our users who came up.
You know what they would do? They would build it out of Lincoln logs just to.
Oh, that would be. I mean, that'd be massive, like for scale. You know what I'm saying? You have to build like a giant room for the Lincoln logs. Oh my goodness. You know it goes off the rails when you start talking about poop. That should definitely be. I'm gonna make a note on my, because I mean we talk about it more often than we really should. But I'm making a note that says poop bingo. I'll have Lawrence add that to one of the bingo cards.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. Anyway, this is a great new spell. It's called the Goo Ball, a level 3 evocation. And a bright green beam flashes from you to a point you choose within range, and then expands into a ball of goo. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on that point makes a dexterity saving throw, taking 5d6 acid damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. A creature that fails its save is engulfed by the goo ball. An engulfed target is suffocating, can't cast spells with a verbal component, has the restrained condition, and takes 3d6 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. An engulfed target can try to escape by taking an action to make a DC 12 strength athletics check. On a successful check, the target escapes and enters the nearest unoccupied space. The goo ball dissolves after 1 minute or when no creature remains inside the ball. Now, can you suffocate within a minute? That's my question, because you're being suffocated, and so if it dissolves within a minute, is there actually a chance for suffocation? Or
I don't know. I guess it depends on whether or not you drew a deep breath before you got hit. Because if they caught you on the exhale and you got no air in there, it's that last minute that matters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it would be how the DM rules it.
Yeah, I guess so too. I mean, and maybe if you practice your breathing exercises ahead of time or not.
Right.
So interesting.
If they've got proficiency in Pilates or something, then they need to get advantage on the saving throw. I mean, that's a fantastic spell, though. This is part of the reason why the Gooey Cube community is so fantastic, because you guys attract the talent that has this kind of sense of humor, this kind of creativity, this type of insight into the game, how to literally meld that right into the game so it follows all the rules just the way that it should. That's a perfectly valid 5th edition spell right there. Beautifully written, I might add too. And even with the the artwork, whether it's AI or whether it was done, it's fantastic artwork. Yeah. That's just fantastic. Kudos to Joshua. I love it. I think it's great.
I love it too. Here's my question. So if you're able to throw a goo ball, would whoever whatever monster, if they had magic as well, if they were also a sorcerer, wizard, or whatever, would they be able to stop it at any point and throw it back at you? Is that something you'd ever allow as a GM, or think about as a GM?
I would allow it if they had something like a mirror of reflection or like a shield of reflection or something like that that's got something that reflects magic. I personally would allow it if they had something of that nature.
So this says the human brain can typically tolerate, thanks, Paul, a lack of oxygen for approximately 4 to 6 minutes before irreversible brain damage occurs.
Well,
So
now Paul's a smart guy, and I believe him. But here's my question for Paul: how come on so many day-to-day missions, when I'm out there just talking to people, it feels like I've meet people that have talked past the 7th minute?
Purple Hazy says per 5e suffocation is 1 minute plus constitution bonus, so
Oh, there
minimum
you
30
go.
seconds. So, however, like ideally speaking, this is being thrown at monsters, which may have a less
Could be.
tolerant, unless I don't know, monsters have spells too. So
Yeah.
interesting, but I do agree. This is great, Joshua. Great work. Okay, so this is from Adam. Magic the Gathering sure has had great art in its time. Seb McKinnon rarely missed. And like, I do think that this art is absolutely stunning and terrifying,
Yeah.
and would be something, I mean, it just evokes so much feeling in it, with the sun as like the head, if that's what that's supposed to be, this like giant body. Ugh, it's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
like the big stilt-like legs and arms and stuff. So it's a
Yes.
almost like a spider, but not. And then it's got, of course, the skeletal appearance to it. The undead. The cloak itself is, the night is
Galaxy, the
right. The
darkness.
galaxy or the night that's
Yeah.
literally cutting through the daylight itself. All the people running in horror. Only one of which appears to have managed to remember to hold on to his sword. Everybody else appears to have dropped all their shields and swords and everything, because at least they're not carrying them at this point.
Well, they're like, it's too heavy. Like, there's no chance. We just got to
Right.
run at this
You're not
point.
going to use it anyway, so
Yeah.
just book it. It's just holding you down. So.
Oh, this is interesting from Paul. Back to this. Manatees can hold their breath for 20 minutes.
Oh wow.
I mean, their lung capacity. I mean, they're big, so that's
Sure.
awesome.
Hmm.
So, and this is interesting from Sheehan. New world record for holding breath is 24 minutes. Like a human, like managed. I saw that in the headlines as well. That a human was able to hold their breath for 24 minutes, which is absolutely
I think
insane.
that would be amazing, but I would not want to take 24 minutes of 3d6 damage every round. That would suck. I think that would
Oh my
be an
gosh.
uncomfortable 24. You get like you have to have like a Tibetan monk or somebody to do that, because you got to have the discipline thing going on.
Here's a great picture of Alphinius and Miss Goo out in the Bay Area. This is talking about what's going on. And I just thought, what a sunset and what a beautiful
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
So again, sending
And,
lots of.
and look, Alphinius has a small halo just above his head and up to the
Oh,
right.
shh. We don't talk
See,
about that kind of stuff, Todd. He doesn't need that
he's
hubris.
saintly. He's reached sainthood.
Shh. We would never say that to his
Saint
face.
Alphinius. I
His
like it.
ego could not handle it.
Saint Alphinius.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
His excrement doesn't stink.
It smells like roses.
Right.
Funny. Shirt. Only you can prevent dungeon fires. Kill the wizard first, says the owl bear. And I don't know, I just thought it was a cute shirt.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, this is Pam. I said that we talk a little bit. So this is Pam bringing out Pacificon and gaming stuff. So I see like some level 6 pre-gens, Perils and Fortunes. She's doing a miniature version of the Gooey game show out there. Yeah, so lots of good stuff. And I just hope her and Armando and Lance and Amber, who are all out there this weekend, are having a great time at Pacificon, which is, again, like just another very nice community of people. Very small, but like mighty community of people. So have like the best time, Pam. Okay, this was just too cute, and I couldn't. I don't know if you ever thought you'd see as many snails as you do in our den,
Right.
but I love this idea. It's kind of got like Howl's Moving Castle. It's kind of got a vibe like that. I could definitely see a character like this in some show with like people living inside a giant teapot. I don't know. I thought it was whimsical fantasy and adorable.
Sure, wrapped up with Gandalf and stuff. So it all
Yeah.
that's Gandalf's quote: "Is wizards are never late, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to."
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I guess it makes sense with snails as well, since it takes them a while. So
One could almost see that inside of that teacup is like some kind of a traveling wizard's Baba Yaga hut type experience, but a snail instead.
I mean, it would make such a good movie. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
Right. It'd be a slow moving movie, but it'd be good.
Todd, you are quick. I love it. Oh, this is from you. I thought you could talk a little bit about your fog of war.
Oh, okay.
I know we talked
Right.
about it before on Train Talks, but I liked the post. I like the ideas.
Sure. So this one is just an overall quick, because I get all the time. Well, how do you run with all your campaign with your terrain and stuff? How do how do you keep players from going off in different directions? And it's just when we're running dungeons and stuff, I start with it, and you can see it in the upper left hand corner, clockwise. They start fully covered with Fog of War, either black poster board or black napkin cloth that I have it from. And then next one over to the right and clockwise, you can see where part of it has been covered, but you can see where the players are actually working and going through has been uncovered. So as they go from room to room, that's when they discover what's in the next room. So they can't metagame ahead of time. And then outdoor stuff, I don't usually have covered for obvious reasons, because it's line of sight. You're looking outdoors. But then if there's something in there, let's say there's like a giant rune or an artifact or some kind of big thing there that it's a tower or something, I won't put that on the table until they get close enough to that area. So I just leave that underneath my desk or whatever it is, and I pull it out when they get close enough to it. And the advantage of having everything pre-built and then just uncovering it is you can see from the next one down how complex some of my dungeon builds can sort of get. That was actually the session 0 for the most recent campaign that my players are on right now, the one in the lower right hand corner, and yeah, that one right there. And having to not with it built out like that, you don't have to describe everything. I'm not spending 5 minutes describing each room. I can just say, you see blah, 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 a couple of sentences, and the players can see all the rest of the details for themselves. I can tell them what sounds or smells or whatever it is that they denote as they come in. And then the advantage is the players actually get to spend more time doing what they want to do, which is playing, rather than listening to me put on a soliloquy of describing for 5 minutes or something. I just go, you enter a small maze-like room and you don't see an immediate way out, and the hallways and doors or stuff are sliding and shifting in front of you, and then they can see everything right there. And I would rotate the room or whatever it is. So that's just a way of keeping gameplay actually moving faster. And then the lower left-hand one is just me sitting behind the table for Inside of a Town Adventure, which we'll be talking about today, how I build those things out. So same thing with Town Adventures as regular outdoor stuff is I usually keep it all uncovered because the players can see it's an open experience for them. So
I have a question.
Sure.
After spending hours, or I don't know how long it takes, a couple hours, whatever, building out this, how do you then have the patience to do this and cover it, cut out the things, cover it all? Like that's astonishing to me.
They're pre-cut. So what I did is I figured out there's usually only certain number of certain size rooms that you're using. And so all of those that you see, they're actually already all cut, and I've got them in a thing, and I just find the one that's the right size and throw it on top of the room. So I just did that one time, and I've been using the same ones for like, I don't know, 7 years now.
I love that. And these look like napkins.
Yeah,
like black
those are napkins. They went on Amazon, and there's some 24 by 24 inch, and then there's some larger ones that I have, and I just throw those over the different room sizes. And that way, if there's, because you can see in that particular build, there's elevated terrain, right? You see it's not flat. And so sometimes if I want to make sure I totally cover it, I'll use the napkin over the top of it to hide all of the features all the way around, especially if you can see it's a different type of terrain set. It's not the same as all the other ones that you've seen. Maybe I'm using a different tile set from Dwarven Forge. And I know Gooey Cube is co-sponsored and a big fan of Dwarven Forge. I just ordered a bunch of more Dwarven Forge actually. So
from their Kickstarter or just for fun?
So just for fun and from the Kickstarter. The sci-fi one they just shipped, and then they opened up the store for their restock or whatever it is, and I got a bunch more additional walls for the sci-fi and floors.
That's awesome.
So, yep.
Paul says, not to mention one of the benefits of terrain is there are often features the DM unintentionally incorporates that the players latch onto. Then a good DM can just extemporaneously rub with to create. I don't know what he's trying to say right there. Some very enriching gameplay.
The DM can run with it. I think
run. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Run with. Oh, he put it right under there. Yeah. Yep. I feel that. I am the worst with typos. I swear. I used to be so good at it, and nowadays I'm just like everyone.
I speak typo. It's like a second language.
Yeah. Okay.
I use them, and Paul's absolutely right. By sometimes the players can look and see something, and it adds another dimension to the adventure that the DM hadn't even intended, but it doesn't matter. It grabs the player's attention and adds to the fun.
Yeah, I love that. Adrian posted this. He's a digital artist, and on top of that, he's running games at Tacticon this weekend. So I thought we'd give him some love, and also I think the colors on this are just fantastic. And he was
That art style, and I don't know if this is intention or not, but that art style reminds me very strongly of the early art style from D&D Basic, from the very earliest years of Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I should say, the very earliest, but the BX Basic Expert set and whatnot had a lot of art style that was like that, which is fantastic. I love that style of art. It's also a little bit similar to what Dungeon Crawl Classics uses. Yes, Errol Otis vibes. Thank you, Harry. You are absolutely correct. That's the name I couldn't bring to mind.
Yeah.
Yep, perfect.
It's absolutely fantastic. Again, Gooey Gaming, Ben is going to be running some events, and so is Andy at Gamehole Con, which is coming up in October. And events just opened for signing up, I believe. I believe they just opened like this weekend. So if you're planning on going to Gamehole Con, our team will be out there running the booth. Alphinius, Lawrence, and Iad will be out there, and we have some good games going on. So go check it out. Yep. Let's see here. Okay, so at Tacticon this weekend, one of the big things that they do are Megatech battles. I don't know anything about this world. Do you, Todd? Okay.
I don't.
I have seen like what like if you look at this bottom picture here, Casey standing there. I don't know what it's all about, but it looks very cool. And anyway, so if you're into that kind of thing,
right.
Rick's like, I do. Rick, put it in the chat. Explain it to us. So big stompy robots is what David says. So anyway, it's very cool. Big battle tech is what Purple Hazy says. Love these houses versus star houses. I don't know what that means, Rick. I'm going to guess that is is it a team thing? I don't know. It looks really cool. Is all I'm saying.
On the lower right-hand corner picture, can you zoom in on that?
Yeah, I can. Let's see here.
Lower right-hand corner.
Wait, this one?
You're military right. There you go.
This one?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it me, or does that urban mech have cup holders?
Like on the top?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They look like cup holders.
Like shot glass holders.
Yeah. That's some advanced technology there.
No, I like it.
And hold your drink.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look at this. Like they're putting like dice for some reason. Look at us. We have no idea what we're talking about right now, but we're sure talking about it.
You know what? Those could be like hit point trackers or something. That could be the number of moves they have left on a turn. Again, I'm talking about out of a place that's not my mouth right now, but that's
I love it.
It looks interesting.
No, it certainly does. Anyways, I love that Tacticon brings this kind of stuff. Genghis Con, I believe, has a number of these type of games as well. So, which obviously is our home con. So if you're ever interested in coming out to Colorado, Todd, I would love to see you out here sometime. Just saying.
I gotta talk the missus into it.
I know. For reals. That would be awesome, though. Tell her we have fun people for her. She's not super into gaming, right? That's more your thing.
She used to a long time ago, but then now she's back into it, which does not hurt my feelings at all. Her preferred thing is to be in the kitchen cooking. I married the right woman. She loves to cook and she supports my gaming hobby. Okay, so
nice. I also have one of those.
Yeah, there you go.
He's over there. Anyway. Asking when is Genghis Con? I don't know if an official date has been set, but it's normally in the 2 to 3 weeks into February. So depending on which one. Normally Donnie's in the chat and could tell us, but obviously he's running around doing Tacticon this weekend. This is from Pam. I've been cleaning out the garage bit by bit over the last several days. Came across this blast from the past. The new easy to master Dungeons and Dragons game, epic adventures with wizards, dragons, and magic. And it looks to me like a board game and not so much like an actual TTRPG. And I'd be curious to see what that actually is.
No, it was basically a boxed set.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, it was basically a box set. And if I remember, and don't roast me too bad if I'm wrong on this, but it was a box set that was basically an abbreviated version of the BECME D&D, the basic expert master companion master immortal rules, which were their individual boxes sets before, and then they kind of clumped them all together into that. And then I think it got all clumped together again into just one solid book called the D&D Dungeons and Dragons Cyclopedia, which was a hardbound cover book that had everything. But if I remember correctly, that's like an abridged version of Beckmeat. I could be wrong. If somebody knows for sure, please let me know. But that's my understanding.
Yeah, tell us in the chats. I love that. Okay. Harry says this was the board game.
Oh, was the board game? Okay.
Okay. So I'm sure that you're thinking of something that just is similar but not quite the same, or maybe they use the same art or very similar art.
Maybe I'm just on crack. That's possible.
I doubt that. Or maybe you are. You told me.
Maybe I'm on crack.
That's funny. Okay. So we are streaming on YouTube now. This is currently streaming live on YouTube. So after 4 long years, I finally figured out how to get this to stream onto YouTube by pressing a button. It was very simple and something I should have done a long time ago. But I can stream on YouTube from StreamYard or from vMix, which is our in-studio solution. So from now on, there will be no more uploading the stream days or weeks after the stream has happened. It will just be there. I'll trim it down, and that's where our stuff will live on YouTube. So it will no longer be under the video section. It's under live. So if you look at our YouTube channel, there's a live. You can see it right here. So this is where it normally used to be. It is now under live here. So that's where people can find the replays of these things. Okay, next up. Harry with the beautiful sculpt of Alphinius with his steed charger, or named Lightning, sorry, on his trusty charger named Lightning. And just had to show the mold, or the sculpt, because gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous work here. So
look at the detail on that snail too. The snail skin that he put into that is fantastic.
Yeah, the textures are great. Everything about this is fantastic. Chet Mitten will also be doing an artwork based on this at some point, which we will put all over t-shirts and other fine things. So excellent, 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 excellent. So thank you, Harry. Oop, I think we have no, that's it. Okay.
Right.
We are on to talking about terrain and towns. If you want to start the discussion, I'll go ahead and pull up your slideshow and get that going, Todd.
Sure. So in previous sessions, we've talked all about all kinds of different terrain, obviously, but one area we didn't cover in specificity was towns. And I personally love setting up town adventures. And there's different ways that you've done it, or you can do it. I've done it. Basically, I divide it into 3 different categories for how I can run town adventures. And Camera Mandy's going to bring some up here. The first one is about the exterior building models. And Camera, Mandy, you can see that I've got it 1A, 1B, 1C, the numbers of the picture. So that corresponds with first, second, third, fourth.
I'm just trying to make sure that they went in order.
Yep.
Okay, hold on.
And then you said you had got some of Alphinius pictures in there, so I'm not sure where those links
I'll just show those at the end. I'll show one of Alphinius's builds at the end. I thought he'd like to wax nostalgic about building his town, but obviously he's not here, so we'll just show them and admire them from afar.
I'd rather he wax nostalgic than bikini wax, so that's fine.
Okay, let's go ahead and do this. There you are.
Okay.
1A, right?
So, yes, that's it there. So this is an example of an external only build, meaning it's just the external of the buildings themselves. There's nothing that when you open it up, you play inside of it. So each of those buildings is solid, so to speak. So you can't pull off the top and then play on the inside. It's just an external build. That one's actually from one of the Gooey Cube modules that you guys put out. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's an actual town that I saw from one of you guys' modules. I tried to recreate it as best as I could.
I love that. We should figure that out and post that on social media. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had that in there somewhere. So the advantage of the external only is it's usually the fastest way to build, because you can just pop the town pieces down, kind of like an HO trail, an HO scale train set, right? You're just popping the towns down to pop the roads down, some hills and trees, and you're off and running. How I'll handle if somebody decides to go inside of the buildings is you can either just go pure theater of the mind, certainly always do that, or I'll have one internal build, a generic internal box build, basically, that I set off to the side. And if the players go inside of a building, I might have some stuff in a bag that says, oh, you're going into the ale house? and I go and I pour out the stuff for the ale house, and I set up the bar, and I set up the customers and the patrons, and it takes 30 seconds or whatever it is, and now there you are. And then if they decide they're going to go into the warehouse, I just take those out, throw it off, and then I open up the warehouse one that throws all the boxes in and the warehouse workers and stuff, and you're off and running. And so the internals would always either happen theater of the mind, or they'll happen inside of just that one generic internal build, and the rest of it acts basically like a town or a city map. The big advantage of those is that they're faster to set up, and the other part just went completely out of my head.
That they're beautiful, that they're stunning.
They're nice. But it also, you can put, when you're doing just external only, you can put more houses in there, so you can make more of a city-like feel. Mm-hmm. Because if you're doing if you do the next one, you'll see with the internals, it takes up so much more space. That's another external only. Uh-huh. That's an internal. The internal builds are where literally you don't see any roofs or anything there, because you're looking at the inside of the buildings, and you can see some of them are still covered up because the players haven't been in there yet, inside of those buildings yet. But like, you could zoom into the center of that one. You can see where one of my players, Mike, is reaching in. You can see, if you zoom inside that building, you can see, there's some bunk beds in there. There's some stairs going up to, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
The build is designed specifically that's basically an adventurer's inn is what that particular one was designed to be, right? So, and you can see some other smaller houses and stuff that are built in other locations. The advantage of that is it's all playable area. So if you want to do combat inside, you can. If you wanted, stuff to be summoned and show up that, for the players to see, there's room to actually do those things inside of the build. The downside is you obviously can't fit as many buildings like that on the table. So you end up with a smaller town. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can see the scale of how massive this is.
Correct.
Which, by the way, David said, could this be an early Darkenhaven? Because it has that like kind of castle-y like exterior around it, which is beautiful.
This one is actually, I'm holding up the module. It's Keep on the Borderlands from B2.
Nice.
I literally opened up that module and I looked at the map, and you can see the way that it's as best as I could. I tried to recreate the Keep on the Borderlands because that was the first Dungeons and Dragons module that I ever played from D&D Basic. So I just tried to recreate that.
Yeah. I also have a question from Rock here that sure. I'm going to leave it on this one. This is stunning while I ask this question. The question was
last session.
It feels like fall, and
that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So the quick backdrop on that one is the name of that town is called Fireside, and the reason it's called Fireside, I grew up in upstate New York, mm-hmm. in the Adirondack Mountains. So when fall came and all the leaves would turn the colors, and then the wind would go through it, it would almost look like the forest was on fire, so to speak, because you got the reds and the yellows and the oranges and stuff in there. So that tallest building in the far upper right-hand corner that you see at the very top, that was the Grand View Inn, because it sat higher than everything else, and you could look out over all the foliage and whatnot. So that's why it was called Fireside. And but yes, it was absolutely all about a fall setup.
I love this. I'm so ready. At the office, I'm going to aside. This is going to be a side tangent. At the office, we're doing something called Autumn Bingo. So basically, originally I was just going to ask like the ladies of the office, "Oh, do you want to do Autumn Bingo?" All of them are like, "Yes, absolutely." Then I talked to HR, and they're like, "We have to include the guys too." Okay, fine, we'll include the guys. Do you guys want to play Autumn Bingo? What's Autumn Bingo? Tell us about this. But basically, the idea is it's a bingo board full of vibes of the fall. So apple pie, cozy blanket, big sweaters, all the things people love. Yeah. And like 95% of the office was like, yes, we want to play Autumn Bingo. And so I had to add a prize. I added a good prize, like a $50 gift card to whatever coffee place. Anyway, behind the scenes at the Goo. All this to say, let me read Raul Kier's question. What do you think about Fat Dragon's Games paper buildings? What do you think about Fat Dragon Games paper buildings?
So the paper buildings have some big advantages. Obviously, they're not heavy like Dwarven Forge, okay? Because I get older, I'm going to have to hire Teamster people in order to bring it out in my gaming room with the size of some of the things that I do. So there's huge advantage there. Every style of gaming has advantages and disadvantages. And the question is whether or not they match the type of gameplay that you want to do and your budget and your time, et cetera, so on and so forth. I think paper is fantastic. as far as the setup and stuff. I'm not sure how good it is on the storage though. Now clearly it can store flat. That's great. I don't know how much time it takes because I haven't used it myself. So how much time it takes to actually fold it out and pop it down? Probably less time than it takes me to actually go and put out all the tiles for Dwarven Forge.
I mean, I think it's different, like technique, and it's like how gentle are your hands? Like,
right.
I'm not good with paper crafts at all. I don't have the
Right.
patience for them.
I don't use them, but that doesn't mean they're not a great way to game, because I have seen over on Creative Adventure Tables, some people put out some papercraft tables that got some of the best absolute reactions and the most, like hundreds of people that were like, this is amazing. Look at the detail. It's fantastic. So clearly you can make a very immersive table with papercraft. Absolutely. I haven't done it myself, but I've seen it done and it's impressive.
Sorry, I'm reading the comments and there's a random one. Hence why we are trying to make Mandy a barbarian character. And I don't know where that's coming out of, but I think that's hilarious.
Because you're not very gentle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the context. Yes, indeed. I am not. I have like no patience for that stuff. But I mean, I love buying it. I love see another thing on the bingo card, going to like craft fairs or festivals, and I love seeing what people can do with paper craft. It is stunning, and like there is an art to it for sure. And it's nice that the materials are not that expensive for like if you have the patience for it. So
absolutely.
Low deck score. That is exactly right. I would crush that thing into a million pieces. Okay. And Rock here said that was a great answer. So let's keep going. So we showed.
So there's another interior build. So like I was saying, you can see how I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 buildings basically in that entire town. Now, but most of the adventure is going to take place inside of the buildings. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Versus an exterior build where most of the adventure is probably going to take place in the streets.
Right.
So now this one, there's plenty of street room in there as well, but there's the trade-off is there's not as many buildings.
I love this little fountain, just FYI. That's I've not seen something like that on a build in like ever. I feel like I think gorgeous.
That's a WizKids product. I know I got it off eBay, but I think that's a WizKids mini.
What a great miniature
there, and that particular build are WizKids.
Mm-hmm.
But the other advantage of this is because you're in town. Now think about it. If you're in a dungeon, number one rule of the dungeon is don't split the party, right? But if they want to survive, but it all depends on your goals. Believe me, right? But when you're in town, you don't have to move as a block of people, right? You can go wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the players have this tendency that they want to split up and one guy goes, the wizard's like, well, I want to go to the Arcanium and I want to research the spell. And the fighter's like, look, I need to go to the armor and I need to get my shield and undented. And, I need to get my sword sharpened. And the rogue wants to go someplace else and he wants to, pawn off the loot that he stole from the monsters and half the party or whatever the case may be. So if they're going to go off all in different directions and into different buildings, the internal builds allows you to split the party and go inside very easy. If you have an external only build with maybe just one generic, it makes it harder to split the party without at least doing theater of the mind for each of the players. Mm-hmm. So it all kind of depends on the play style of your character, of your players, what they prefer to do, how they handle themselves. Kind of or the nature of what you plan on happening in that town is why you go, oh, external would probably work better, or internal might work better. So between those two particular styles.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with that. I love that. Okay, next up is another. Oh, look at that, Todd! You have so many like unique things. Look at this little. What is this? A owl bear rug?
It's an owl bear rug. I get more comments on that thing. So you can get those. There was a company called Griffin Co. GRIFFON.co, not .com, .co, that I used to get stuff from. And then it was maybe a year ago, they decided to stop printing for whatever reason. They put a notice up. They told them, okay, this is it, our last run. So you'd have to look and see if you can find it. But those are 3D prints that are out there that you can get. Mm-hmm. And I bought several of them and got them painted up in different colors because the owlbear rug is just such an amazingly cool thing. So it just adds so much flavor to a room. So
no, I mean, I again like the idea that you said earlier when you were talking about Fog of War, that if you're going into internal builds, these would all be covered up except for like the sidewalks. Yep. But if you're doing an external build, since it's line of sight, you wouldn't cover those up
So
necessarily.
you can actually see that in the pictures that I provided. So this obviously is you're looking at everything. If you flip back to the picture with the guy in the blue shirt, that one right
Yes.
there, this is the same exact build.
Ah, yes.
But this is what it looks like in actual gameplay while some of the stuff is covered up. They haven't gone to certain locations yet.
Yeah. What is this buzzer that says dead?
So I can so normally when you go to 0 hit points, right, everybody goes, oh, I'm down, I'm blah blah blah, right? So what can you pardon me for like 30 seconds and I'll be right back.
Okay.
It'll be less than that. I'll be right back.
Oh, y'all know how well it always goes whenever I'm left to just like talk by myself. So especially about train. I'm just gonna read some of your guys' comments. Mainly Midwest here, but one in Texas. I don't know what context that is. We need Harry to do a Gooey Cube rug. How would that even work? Like, would you like step on it and like your foot would dissolve? Oh, Partholus, you have a great day. I hope that you're having good something. I have to get in my house and get to my friends. I know this always goes really well when I'm just left on camera by myself. Struggle is real about something that I did not pay attention to. I'm so sorry. Oh, thank God Todd's back. Okay.
So sorry. Well, I wasn't expecting this question.
Okay.
So I try to add as much immersion in my game as I possibly can.
Uh-huh.
And I was browsing through Amazon one day online, and I saw these little buttons, and what they do is they record a sound, up to 30 seconds worth of sound on them. So you just click on the back side of it, you just click over to record, and then whatever sound you want, you press the button, you play the sound, you let go of the button, and it records that sound, then you switch it to play, and anytime you hit the button, it'll play that sound.
Okay.
So anytime anybody drops to 0 hit points, I play Shadow Dark, and it's the same in 5e. You're not dead at 0. In 5e, you've got your death saves, right? And in Shadow Dark, there's something similar that's going on. So when they drop to 0, instead of saying they're dead, they press the dead button, and it makes this sound effect. And the sound effect is the Wilhelm scream. That's this famous scream in the movie. Ah! So every time somebody goes down, so
that is hilarious.
It just adds some, right, and it just everybody laughs. So it makes, even when somebody dies, or they're not dead, but even when somebody dies, they go down, everybody just kind of laughs because it makes it funny. And then I have some other buttons. I usually have one that I labeled DM 1 through 4, and I record specific sounds for the adventure that they're going on. Like this one here is if the bad guys are casting a spell. Right, so it's just kind of like crazy stuff that I put in there that it just adds an audio component to it. And now the guys don't even say anything, like they're dead. They just go and they hit the sound and it screams and everybody just kind of laughs a little bit.
That's hilarious.
That person is down. And then I have one behind mine. So whenever the bad guy dies, I hit the same button and down he goes. And everybody knows, oh, he's out. That's it. So that's yep.
I'm taking that. I'm going to steal that. Creative Adventure Tables. Good work. That's awesome. That's fun.
So, I call them my dead buttons. So it's called the Wilhelm Scream. You can find it on YouTube. It's a very famous scream from an old cowboy western movie.
I mean, it's in Lord of the Rings. It's like in everything.
Correct. It's in Star Wars. It's in Indiana Jones. You name it. It's in it. And it's basically become a running gag where do you put in the Wilhelm Scream? It's just that. That prolific. So it just becomes, it's so recognizable. And it also has this certain over the top hilariousness to it that it just kind of makes you laugh even when your character goes down. And you can see I've got one for, in between. So any of the players can hit, you can see the buttons on the table for the guys right there. It's a integral part of the game for us. We have the Wilhelm Scream whenever anybody goes down. So
I love this. Okay.
So the third type of town adventure that I have is what I call split level. Split level is where it has the town above ground, and then it has what's below ground as well, whether it's sewers or tunnels or whatever the case may be. Usually, the above ground is basically the buildings just themselves, the external buildings, and you can see that in that build right there. Those are just basically 3D prints and hard foam buildings that I could just put down. I put some roadway in there, and they can go from house to house. They can ask questions, blah blah blah. And then if they go under the sewer grates, then it brings them down into the sewers. And then I have the sewer underneath where they can do the dungeon adventure that's going on.
That's awesome.
So now this one here, there's the graveyard that you can see the closest to you that's above ground, and then underneath the graveyard, there's actually 2 levels below that. There's underneath the catacombs itself, and then the next level below that, there's some some natural caverns and stuff that it leads to.
So it's
And
like 3 levels,
so
really.
there's 3 levels for that
That's
particular build.
awesome.
Yes, there's 3 actual physical levels for that particular build, and it's all covered up until the players get there. The advantage for the split level, this is what I love about the split level. It's great, especially if you've got low level characters, level 0, level 1, level 2, something like that. And the players want to go on and they're ready to do a dungeon crawl and stuff like that. But the characters are real squishy, right? Especially like your first level wizards or whatever, they die real fast.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to go someplace far away for the dungeon, their chances of escaping are a lot less than if the dungeon is right down the sewer grates. So their next safety trip is wherever the closest sewer grate is, they can try to escape and get out real quick. So even though they're squishy, they can have a dungeon adventure, but they're not that far from safety, if
I
that
love
makes
this.
sense to you.
Yeah.
So it's an all-in-one, and the way you can set it up is let's say there's a certain monster that they're supposed to that they heard that they're it could be like a thieves den that they're supposed to try and get rid of, that they heard is down underneath the do adventures in the sewers automatically become sanitation workers? No, they might, but I tell you one thing, I had one adventure where the characters came down, the players came down, and they saw a bunch of skeletons and zombies there, and it looked like they had spears or something, and they were kind of dragging along through the sewers, and the players go out and they start attacking them, of course, and then this crazy guy in a nasty smelling robe and stuff comes out and goes, no, stop. And he was a necromancer that had been contracted by the city, and he raised the dead, and he used them to clean the sewers. He had a contract with the city.
No, I've read some. I don't know. Do you know anything about lit RPG?
About what?
Lit RPG or RPG
I've
lit?
heard of it, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, it's we talked about it a few times because there was a convention up here in Denver. It's basically literature that's written with a gaming system.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so and I've heard that used before, and I love the idea of it, especially if you use it within like if people have issues with necromancers.
Sure.
But the idea being that if they could take care of some of these like less appealing things with non-sentient
Right.
bones.
It makes sense. So he had a contract, and he pulled out the contract and showed, look, this is the mayor that signed it. I'm here. I'm allowed to do this. I collect a stipend, blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, sanitation workers, they are down there. I do have them in my dungeons. But what I was going to say is the advantage of having a split level is then the players get to choose how they want to run the adventure. For example, let's say they're trying to get rid of the Thieves Guild that they're supposed to be down in there somewhere in the sewers, but the sewers are vast, right? Well, they have a choice. They can either just pop open a grate, jump down into the sewers, and focus on the dungeon crawl and just go through the whole system until they find it, or they can go up and through the town. They can start talking to different people, find the clues to find out which sewer grate is actually closest to where the thieves' den is, so they can have a ton of role play, and then just to hit the final boss when they jump down underneath the. Oh, thank you, My Mini Factory, for the Harry for the Albug Rug STLs. They're great. I recommend them. So if they want to focus on more role play, they can spend a lot of time up in the town above, and then just go down to the sewer grate, which is closest to the monsters or the thieves or whatever they're trying to go. It gives the players some flexibility, and you're not changing anything out. With the split level build, it's all built there, ready for them, and it's just up to the players how they want to attack the adventure.
I love this. I love the versatility. So, all right, next up.
That's another open build right there. That's when I ran a convention at there was some kind of Space Con in Southwest Florida. I ran a thing like that, and that's you're showing. This is basically split open on this, because you can see there's a town build. There's an open road and trees and stuff on the far end. Then there's the town in the middle, and then there's underneath the town in the sewers and stuff. It's all one solid build, and I just covered it so I could cover all 3 areas and show people, because these were people that, you know, most of them hadn't played or whatever before this type of gaming system. So I showed them, yeah, you can do external, you can do towns, and you can do dungeons, all with tiles and adventures.
I love that there's kids at this table.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like this probably opened their imagination.
Mom had more fun than anybody just watching the kids go ballistic. She's like, okay, we're going to have to get this stuff. So
yeah, seriously. Rick says, I have a player in the new campaign I will be GMing that is a rat folk paladin from the sewers. I will say I love a character build like that. That's interesting and has like kind of a dark background of some sort. So I love that he's a paladin and he's come above ground. That's an awesome idea for a character.
That is awesome. So now the next thing I wanted to say is, and this is totally optional. Of course, all of it's optional, but in my mind, optional is destructible environments. So if you're running a town adventure, sometimes you want to wreck the town. In
Mm-hmm.
this particular picture here, I literally had fire giants that were storming the town. Like a volcano popped up like that. It was magma coming down, and the fire giants were they used magic in order to create like a small volcano, and just fire started pouring through the town. So you can see like some of the top towns, some of the buildings are on fire. I have like little fire things, emblems that are on top to show those are burning.
Mm-hmm.
And if you zoom in closer to, there's like one in the very center. You see the house in the center that's
This one?
just to the right of it. You can see there's two fires up like that. You can see there's a
Oh,
destroyed
this one.
house. That's it right there. There's a destroyed house that I can put out. So whenever a house gets destroyed for some reason, I can pull off the actual big house that's there and put that in to show that the house has been destroyed. And it shows the effect of what's happening. It kind of like as the players are trying to rescue people, or they're trying to defend a particular house, or everybody's trying to escape, or whatever it is. You can see the damages that's happening, and it adds some impetus. It adds some wow. There's some real consequences to what's going on. Now you don't have to have that. You could literally just have some rocks and some toothpicks that you just throw in place. Take off the house, put some rocks down, throw some toothpicks on it, and it looks like, oh, look at that. It's been, the house has crumbled into ruins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's easy to do to add some immersion to your game experiences, is to just have a destructible environments for your town. I think I just got a couple other pictures of that.
Oh, sorry. I was saying I love that, Hans. I'm commenting. Sorry, bad timing. Okay. Hans says he's introducing Gooey Cube to his Monday game in like 2 weeks. So
Awesome.
It's very exciting. All right, so next, sorry, I got to zoom all the way out, and then next. Okay.
This was that last session. That was the last session we just did, where I had a couple of dragons fly into that town, and you can see I've got some rubble there, and the flames that I put up was the dragons breathing the fire. So it brings that town adventure to life, because in a dungeon, usually either stone walls or stone dungeon, whatever, like not that much gets destroyed, but a town's got a lot of wood going on in there. So if orcs raid or anything like that, then those houses and stuff can be destroyed. And so it just adds a little of that element to it. So in this case, I just had a couple of dragons come flying in for, it was part of a cursed ring of monster attraction that they didn't know they had, that was attracting ever increasing waves of nastier monsters before they finally figured it out. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, you think you dealt with one and then a bigger bad comes? Oh, yes, please. That's good. That's good. Let's see how resource management is without knowing that there's going to be a bigger thing coming down. That's awesome.
Exactly it. They think they're safe in the town. So, and then this one here is just, I had a Tarrasque at low level. They were level 1 when I threw a Tarrasque at them. And the town was filled, not filled with, but had doom speakers in there. People that the end times are coming, right? The priests that, the gods are going to retribution against us, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, everybody was like not paying attention, because there's always some crazy people. Well, the Tarrasque happens to come out and go into attack. Well, the doom speakers think that this is prophecy foretold. And so what they try and do is they try and stop the populace, who clearly is guilty of their crimes, tried to stop the populace from escaping. So the players weren't there to fight the Tarrasque. They were there to fight the doom speakers so that the populace could escape from the Tarrasque and then end up hiding in a basement to try and before everything left. So they didn't. So I threw a Tarrasque at them at level 1, but they didn't have to fight it. They just had to save the people who were being corralled in from the doom speakers.
Nice. I like how you turn that's creative storytelling.
Thank you. And at the very end of that campaign, the Tarrasque came back, and of course they were level 10 then, so they could, which in Shadow Dark is the highest level. That'd be level 20 in 5e. The Tarrasque came back, and they got to fight the Tarrasque and actually, get their revenge. So it was a bookend for the campaign. Started with the Tarrasque and ended with the Tarrasque. So that was
great.
That's so great. Another reason for destructible environments is if you have sieges that happen. In this case right here, you can see the siege tower coming along, and everybody going up against the walls and whatnot. And so the catapults were firing in, some of the houses getting destroyed and whatnot, and getting fire, guys breaking in through the walls and stuff, or fighting like that. So there's another reason why you have, destructible environments for throwing. And again, you don't have to have anything 3D printed or special. Just get some rocks and some toothpicks and just take the house off and put that in its place. The players, and if you've got some flaming thing to put on there, you're golden. Your players are just going to be like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Dude, the house is gone. It's just a thing that adds to the immersion.
I love this.
That's another split level 1 here. So here we're talking about the different things that we can happen in the town. So the one was first one that you just showed was the town siege. This one here is like escaping from a prison that you've been wrongfully jailed. I'm just talking about different types of town adventures you can have.
Is this also with the squirrels? I see the squirrels on the
Yes.
roof. The
Yes.
squirrel.
Yep.
Like if you guys missed that episode, Todd put on a whole. Was it a squirrel race?
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant
Thank
stuff.
you.
So much fun.
They were wrongfully imprisoned for a bar fight that they didn't really start. And then a druid came in and said, I can get you out of here, but I need you to help break some of my friends out to show me that you're friends of nature. And so he turned them all into squirrels, but they were anthropomorphic squirrels. They still had their armor and their weapons, but they were shrunk down to that size. So like so now they can walk through the jail cell bars. That's easy. But what about the guard dog that's walking around? All of a sudden, that's a real threat. They go up into the ceiling and over like that. There's a big nasty spider there. That's that they had to fight that. So they had to basically make their way through the town. So that's what that particular adventure. Again, that was another 0 or first level adventure that I had for them.
I love this.
So that's the type of town adventure. Here's where a plague sweeps through the town. And like maybe it's rising up some of the dead as undead after so many rounds or whatever it is. So you've got like an apocalyptic type town setting going on. And then you can have giant monsters or whatever it is. I think that's on the next one possibly of the. Yeah, so there's the end. There's the book ending of the Teresk that's showing up at the end of that campaign to fight in the castle. One of the players ran up the Teresk's tail, jammed its sword in the skull of the Teresk so he could use it as a handle, and was beating on it as he was riding it as it was crashing through the castle walls and stuff, fighting
Look how delighted your players are.
Yeah. Right.
Everyone loves a good callback. That's
right.
Great.
Everybody was just like, oh my God, where's this? Like, how the hell are we going to fight the Teresk? But the advantage was it was happening. They were just being honored for fighting a dragon. And you're thinking, well, where are you going to go from a dragon, right? So they were being honored by the king for fighting a dragon. And the Doom speakers showed up for revenge because they were mad at the players for saving all the people at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And they summoned in the Teresk who showed up, so they had the chance to finally defeat it. So it was like a total bookend where right in front of the king, they saved the kingdom. So they were they retired as total heroes.
I love this. Yep. I love this. All right,
last one. This one's a tournament adventure where it was just that nobody has to die or anything. You can have fun just by laying wagers of how much coin you want to win. Are you going to do a jousting? Are you going to do hand-to-hand combat? Are you going to do archery? Are you going to do magic duels? Like you can see the two little, it's almost in the center. There's like two little places that people can stand. That's where wizards, right there, and the other one where wizards can stand and duel against each other, casting spells and stuff. There's a melee pit where people can fight. There's, you can have drinking contests. So I had a whole adventure where they're running at a tourney to see who could, they could just see how well they do against other adventurers or in non-lethal combat.
I love this. Okay, I'm going to show Alphinius's town pictures next week since we're after 11. And
I'm so sorry. Yep.
Yeah. Oh no, this is great. We go after 11 all the time. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Todd. This has been so much fun. Thank you for taking the reins and showing us all this and giving us some good ideas. I love all of these quick town ideas, especially racing squirrels. So.
You guys have to.
This is a good question from Blade Zeus. Yes, go ahead and enter #portrait, and we'll do a drawing entry today. So #portrait will get you into the running for our giveaway. So that we have going on. Thank you, Hans, for reminding me. Awesome. This is why it's important to people show up every week because I totally lose it. Sorry, what were you saying, Todd?
I was also going to say, sometime if you and Alphinius need to come down and play a game with us, you just let me know when you can be down. I'll make sure there's a game running.
I love this. Yes, we should absolutely do this.
That's an open invitation if you guys ever want to get down to sunny Southwest Florida.
I mean, I'm always, in Orlando. How far from Orlando?
3 or 4 hours from Orlando.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's chat. And maybe an hour or so from Sanibel Island, Captiva Island.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Hey. I love it. I love this. All right, Todd, thank you so much for joining us. I would look forward to Terrain Talks number 9, which we'll have to put on the books. And I'm glad that you're feeling better. That makes me so happy to hear.
Thank you so much.
So, okay.
Thoughts and prayers to Grandma Goo.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm terrible at wrapping these things up. So I'm just going to say, may all your adventures be sticky. And thank you for joining us today.
Take care, guys.